This morning I'm talking about Agni Yoga, Tara of the heart. It's really beautiful, the whole beautiful subject, and one that not many people know about, but today we're going to really get into what does the Tara, or who is the Tara of the heart? What does it mean? So let me start with a quote from the book Infinity. It says, when the Tara of light will enlighten the world with revelations from the far-off worlds, then will she be affirmed as a manifestation of beauty. When the Tara of the heart illumines the world with love, then is she affirmed as a manifestation of beauty. So Tara is a term defined in Agni Yoga as a goddess, the feminine equivalent of an arhat, a sister of the spiritual hierarchy, the brotherhood of light. Arhat means the worthy one, deserving divine honors. So with this little bit of introduction, we can grasp the idea that the Tara of the heart is an exceptional being. It's not a person that we're going to meet necessarily next door. There's not a great number of Taras of the heart any more than there are a great number of arhats. So a question might be, why not? Because they are so essential. Taras of the heart, arhats, are so essential in their divinity that we could say one arhat or one Tara radiates through space millions and millions of miles. They radiate through space. So we don't need many. The Tara and the arhat are those great ones who have entered the most noble and highest path of light. According to the teaching, they became emancipated from the wheel of rebirth. In other words, such worthy ones are able to function in a very high level of consciousness. Functioning, in other words, at least in the Buddhic level of life. They can choose to reincarnate, to actually return to this planet, what we call the Earth School, as a great teacher, or to stay in the subtle levels serving the worlds. Again, we don't need many. And when I think about one of these great ones returning to the Earth School as a great teacher, they draw such attention to their works, to their service, to their beingness, that they attract not only light, they also attract darkness. So their lives are always in jeopardy. Despite what they offer to us, what they give to us, what they give to humanity, their life is always in jeopardy. I find that very sad. But what they do is they give us the teaching, such as Agni Yoga. So this is why some of them stay on the subtle levels, serving the other worlds. I chose this beautiful theme today as a reminder that for one to conquer great spiritual heights, to become successful in the truest sense of the word, to become happy and full of the beauty of life, we must have an all-giving heart. So that's an important point for us to remember, that we must have an all-giving heart if we want to conquer great spiritual heights, if we want to be successful in the truest sense of the word and be happy and full of the beauty of life. Then we must have an all-giving heart. In other words, love and compassion. A Tara of the heart is one whose heart is pure and all-giving of love. One whose heart is in balance with their mind. In the ageless wisdom, the heart refers to a golden 12-petaled lotus that's located behind our physical heart, and we're told about 4 to 6 inches behind or away from the body. This heart can be found in various stages of development. That's an important point to think about. This heart can be found in various stages of development. Sometimes it's like a small bud. Sometimes only 3 petals are open. Sometimes the petals are even hardened to various degrees. And sometimes this heart, this lotus, is fully developed and is a radioactive lotus. So we can take our examples from noble ones who have blazed the path of life before us. Since this morning's talk is focused on the teaching of Agni Yoga, what better life to look into than the life of the founder of Agni Yoga, called the mother of Agni Yoga, Helena Rourke, who is considered and recognized as a Tara of the heart. Helena Rourke is certainly a noble woman. She was a wife, a mother of 2 sons, a spiritual teacher, and a leader. One who is deserving of divine honors, who entered the most noble and highest path of life, the path of sacrificial service, the path of synthesis. And yet, with such a description, her life exemplified a humility in greatness. She climbed the heights of the bitter cold, majestic Himalayan mountains, reaching heights of 27,000 feet during the days that women were busy at home, doing laundry by hand. She was born in Russia in 1879, and died in India in 1955. She brought to humanity the newest yoga, not a physical, but spiritual yoga. The yoga that is only now literally becoming worldwide. She wrote books, many under pseudonyms and many more known as the Agni Yoga series. 2 other books that she wrote were The Foundations of Buddhism and On Eastern Crossroads. These are remarkable books for a woman who visited Venus, but never stepped foot on an airplane. She spoke and wrote in many languages, including Russian and French and German and, of course, English. Her many diaries are still being read and studied by people today, and with still unpublished materials available. Some are being worked on today, soon to be published in the future. The teachings of Agni Yoga, the yoga of living ethics, can be understood as the teaching of life. So think about that. If you study Agni Yoga and you're on the path of Agni Yoga. And people don't understand it when you say, I study Agni Yoga. Well, what is that? Is that like Hatha Yoga? No. Agni Yoga is the teaching of life. It is the teaching of living ethics. So what I find in using a little bit of discrimination when the unknown person, unknown to certainly yoga and most certainly Agni Yoga, hey, what is it that you study spiritually? The teaching of life. They cannot argue. Well, maybe they can, but not likely. The teaching of life, the teaching of living ethics. Agni Yoga is a teaching whose paragraphs and verses number in the thousands, generously offering spiritual disciplines to practice, the science of life to contemplate, exploration and an understanding of art and beauty and culture and education, to direct our thinking toward immortality and also toward the continuity of life, insight into the higher spheres of light, higher thought, joy, and future, and more. That's the teaching of life, the teaching of living ethics. Helena Rourke's spiritual name is known as Urasvati. So her spiritual achievement was a Tara, and her spiritual name is known as Urasvati, which means in part a star. In the book At the Threshold of the New World, a book of a collection of writings from the notebooks of Helena Rourke, it says that Urasvati is a symbol of the mother of the world. In this book, it also says the great era is beginning because the spiritual understanding is linked with the mother of the world. The new era is linked with the mother of the world. Some people say the Aquarian age, other people call it the new epoch, the new era. It is beginning because the spiritual understanding now is linked with the mother of the world. The approach of this very great era is important. It will substantially change the life on this planet. A prophecy that is increasingly coming into manifestation. So let me share a little bit more about the name Urasvati and its meaning. In the books, especially in Nicholas Rourke's, her husband, his writings, you are, is frequently referred to as being of ancient origin and meaning light. You are. You are, means light in the Eastern traditions, and there are biblical references also. Abraham, we are told, for example, was from Ur. So this word or name Urasvati was created by using the word for light, with the name Svati ending. All that said, the word is a real word to us, and the name is a real and honored name to us. To us, the name Urasvati, which means light of the morning star, is the name given to Helena Rourke. She is addressed that way by Master M, beginning in the early 1920s. That is why you can read in the books, and most especially in the book Supramundane, over and over and over again, it says, Urasvati knows. In these specific books, it is an indication that Helena Rourke knew this. and knew that about life and work in the brotherhood and about the things that she was taught there. And then she writes about them. And these written teachings are so available now in so many different languages. It's no longer a secret. It's no longer hidden. It's so out there for us to study. So the light is the function of you are, of in the name. And all of that, of course, refers to Helena Rourke. When the family moved into the Himalayas in Nagar Kulu Valley, they established a scientific institute called Urasvati in her honor. That institute published 3 volumes of a scientific journal called the Urasvati Journal when it was most active, with articles that were some of the earliest about exotic energies, cancer research, Himalayan legends, and other subjects. A definition of the word Tara is the principle of motherhood. Thus, a Tara is symbolized by the heart of the mother of the world. This can tell us that the great era that is only now beginning is symbolized by women of a nurturing heart. The new era is upon us. The approach of this great era is the approach of the heart. It signifies that love will take on higher and newer dimensions than ever before. This is so beautiful and gives us such joy and such hope that this is going to be our future. And it's starting now. The process of unfolding of this great era is starting now, and we're here to see it. And we also recognize the difficulties because of darkness attacking light. But it signifies, this approach of the heart signifies that love will take on higher and newer dimensions than ever before. That love will give way to compassion. That a real human being will be recognized as one with a nurturing heart. A person without a heart is a person with a dead heart. Such a person finds that nothing they have will satisfy them. Their friends will not satisfy them, their family will not satisfy them, because their heart is dead. And since nothing satisfies them, they must try to find new friends, new things, and possess the things and their friends to feel more secure. So these are little signs to recognize in those individuals who have a dead heart. More and more girlfriends, boyfriends, wives, or husbands, more and more money, cars, houses, and this and that. You look into such a person's eyes and they are empty. The person is without enthusiasm, without a fiery spirit, without love. The person's heart is dead. We see such people in both high and low positions, rich and poor. So this is fact. This is reality. And you must be cautious of such people. Without a purified heart, without a loving heart, there is a condition of the heart where the petals of the lotus, the petals of the heart, are dried and petrified. A petrifying of the petals of the heart is the greatest disaster for a human being. Purification of the heart is necessary if we want to use the energy of our heart. Purification. For example, to heal people. Isn't this what Christ did? Pure heart. If your heart is not pure, your efforts at healing will have mixed results. And you will transmit both, this is so interesting, you will transmit both healing energy, but also poison. Isn't that interesting? It is the heart that heals people, but the heart will never be powerful unless it is purified. There are various things that we must be careful not to bring into our life. For if we do, it's going to cause problems to the heart, causing the petals of the heart to further petrify. For example, and this is a quote from the teaching, revenge petrifies the love petals of the heart and kills the sensitivity of the person. I'm going to repeat that because I think it bears listening to again. Revenge petrifies the love petals of the heart. Doesn't it say in the Bible, revenge is mine, saith the Lord? See why? Revenge petrifies the love petals of the heart and kills the sensitivity of that person. And the teaching goes on to say, if you petrify your subtle heart, in future incarnations, your physical heart will give you trouble in the form of heart disease, heart attacks, and other diseases related to the heart. What is the single most prevalent disease that kills people? The heart. Heart attacks. Read your science and you'll see it. It's been like that since 30 years ago that I know of. Not even cancer leads the pack. So this tells us what? It tells us karma. That we're coming back into an incarnation to purify the heart because of the revenge we engaged in previous incarnations. If you petrify your subtle heart in future incarnations, your physical heart will give you trouble in the form of heart disease, heart attacks, and other diseases related to the heart. Another condition of a heart that is not purified is blockages of the energies of the heart. For instance, you have a great love for someone, but behind that love lies your self-interest and vanity. If the motive behind your love is not pure, your love energy cannot flow out to others. It is blocked within your heart, where it creates congestion with various physical repercussions. There's a whole entire book in the Agni Yoga series called The Heart. There is a book written by Torgrim Saradarian called The Flame of the Heart. Carry those two books around with you or put it in your Kindle. And you can carry your iPad or all these different devices that we have today that we can carry 1,000 books in and read it wherever you are. Carry that book, those two books, The Heart and The Flame of the Heart, with you. The condition of such a heart causes many troubles in marriage. I think in the future, all universities and colleges need to teach the nature of the heart. There's also a wonderful little booklet. I'm not sure it's still in publication. I think we might have a few left. It's called What to Look For in the Heart of Your Partner. I would suggest all parents to study and discuss this booklet with their high school age son or daughter. This will help to save your child much pain and suffering from being with the wrong partner. Isn't it interesting? I mean, we're all a little older than high school age. And when we think back to high school and college and business colleges, what was the focus then in our education? We may be so successful in business and have 5 marriages under our belt. So what needs the most education? And shouldn't we start this at an age, when our child is ready? And it depends on their maturity. But typically high school is where we want to start, because this is when the dating game begins, right? Some kids just have a natural instinct of how to choose correctly. But they're the exception. They're the exception. So now that we know the whole process of the necessity of purifying the heart, and the examples that we have through the Torah of the heart, let us put it into their education. If the academic world is not yet ready for this, we are as parents. And ultimately it will be our success, because our children will be happy. And their children are going to be happy, and so forth. This will help save your child so much pain and suffering from being with the wrong partner. Another condition of the heart is a state in which past memories of pain and suffering continuously echoes within their heart. This is a very dangerous state of the heart, because why? Listen to this carefully. It destroys your nervous system and your blood. Your nervous system and blood, because of immersing yourself in these past memories of pain and suffering. They continuously echo in our heart. The best remedy, we are told, for this condition is forgiveness. That forgiveness wipes out such painful memories. The teaching indicates that in the near future, science will prove the existence of 100 to 200 different heart diseases, each one caused by various negative, emotional, and mental conditions. For example, self-pity. Isn't that interesting? Self-pity is actually a disease of the heart. Hatred is a disease of the heart. These diseases will eventually be discovered and researched, and also know that these diseases are not only karmic, they are also genetic. They are also genetic. So this is why the dark forces are so rampant throughout the world in such cunning ways. They negate the power of love. And if you have the gift of being around a Torah of love, you will know that their life is in a continual process of attack by the dark forces. Which means as your heart petals are opening, as the lotus, your lotus of the heart is opening, you too will come under attack. And the more purified you are, the less successful those attacks will be. Those attacks will try to turn your love into a hatred. It's such a fine balance. In the book Infinity, Volume 1, it talks about love and the heart. And this is from paragraph 156. It says, "It is truly told about the power of love for humanity. Can one love a garden and despise its flowers? Can one worship the power of beauty and not show respect for love?" The paragraph says, "I attest that the power of adorning our universe is confirmed as a mother of the world, our mother of the world, the feminine origin. Indeed, one may cite many scientific examples indicative of the creative destiny of women. Those who deny the evidence of a woman's creativeness should reflect that women give voluntarily." And you know what is so exciting to me, and this is there is an advantage of Facebook. I really love Facebook. I'm not caught up into the dark side of Facebook. There are more and more stories being posted on Facebook about the history of incredible creative women and how they have saved the planet, how they have saved humanity, how they have saved races, how they have secured and healed men engaged in the battle of war. It goes on and on and on, these stories, and they are finally now being published. So Facebook is one of the places you can find them. Certainly in cosmos, everything is interwoven, but humanity transgresses the laws of the higher reason. Truly, the feminine origin is most beautiful. Verily, the pinnacle of beingness cannot exist without the feminine origin. Now think of all the horrific words that are given to women. Swear words, slanderous words. She's a, begins with a B, the letter B. I won't censor myself any further than that. But think about this. How diametrically opposite those slanderous innuendos of women are in comparison to what this book, Infinity, Volume 1, is saying. The feminine origin is most beautiful. Verily, the pinnacle of beingness cannot exist without the feminine origin. And then Master M says how badly people have mutilated this great cosmic law. How far people have departed from the truth. The one who possesses the full chalice, that's the Tara, we call a voluntary giver. By this, we could say a Tara of the heart gives all that she has to all that is known and unknown. As she gives, she nurtures. As she nurtures, she ignites the spirit, the divinity, in all she touches. As the divine spark is ignited in those that she nurtures, they will echo the nature of the Tara of the heart, loving the flowers in the garden of God. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. The nurtured ones will recognize the beauty of the soul in each and every person. In that recognition, the petals of the heart in those she nurtures begins to unfold. Now the teaching gives us 10 methods, and I'm coming to a close, so don't freak out when I say 10 methods. Oh no, another 30 minutes. No, this is short. The teaching gives us 10 methods we can use to purify our heart. The first is overcome selfishness. The second is to clean our vanities. The next is to check our motives. For example, once we purify our heart, we will have cosmic energy within us. MM says that we communicate with the cosmos through our heart. We are initiated with our heart, and we conquer with our heart. The next is develop the spirit of worship, devotion, and a life dedicated to higher ideals. One day, Rabindranath Tagore and his father were taking a boat ride on a lake. It was sunset, and the light was casting a beautiful reflection against a tree near the lake. Suddenly, Tagore's father stopped the boat, and looking at the tree and the setting sun, the colors and the serenity, he began to fuse with the beauty in great ecstasy. That moment was an unforgettable joy in the heart of the young Tagore. The adult Tagore, a Nobel Prize winner in literature, was a good friend of Helena and Nicholas Rourke. Going on, renounce your ego. Do not obsess and possess people. Do not try to control the lives of others. Do not speak evil. Try to see beauty in everyone. And finally, obey your heart. So I cannot encourage you more about studying what the teaching has to say about all of the qualities of the heart, how to purify the heart, how to live this teaching of life and not be distracted by darkness and other things. Let this be a goal for the rest of your life. Learn about the heart, experience it, feel it, and be it.